Hey, it's Chris and Brian here from Resolve Technology, and today Chris wants to talk about CoPilot Plus. If you can't keep track of all the different versions of CoPilot at this point, you're not alone. We're losing track. We just know that they keep coming out with new chips and new software, and AI is not going away. And we are going to try to keep you abreast of new things that we see. But again, we don't have time to mess around with all this stuff, or it's not come out yet, but we just want to make you aware of the news that's out there. All right, Chris, go ahead.
So yeah, it looks like here we have Copilot PCs or Copilot Plus PCs, and they're all the major Dell, Asus, Lenovo. They're all going to be creating these, and Microsoft Surface, and it's got like a special AI-driven processor called like NPUs, neural processing units. And I guess they're starting here at $999. So there's a lot of cool features we were looking at earlier, but they're going to say it's the fastest, most secure Windows PC ever built. And I can see where we'll talk about this a little bit later in here in this webinar, but essentially they're adding a bunch of new features. It's going to integrate with applications. There's applications to remix music. It might hook into like something like DaVinci Resolve, things with video editing. But I think the big announcement with all of this is the feature called recall. So if we scroll down here, it's called you can recall anything instantly. Let me play this little short clip that highlights what they're doing. So you can see they got this little timeline at the top there, and they're just scrolling through what they were browsing in Edge. I'll replay it again. It's kind of a quick video. But you see up at the top here, they're just scrolling through the timeline. Now, this is only showing it in Edge, but this is going to be saying it's an entire index built and stored on your device, and they're like snapshot. Now, this is not going to just be the browser. It'll also be document, Teams meetings you had, like where you had some kind of transcription, and you'll be able to delete them too, it looks like. You'll be able to delete ranges of time and settings or pause at any point in time right from the icon in your system tray of the taskbar, which would be down in the right corner here, like right on the bottom of the screen here. There would be like a little icon, I guess, where you'd be able to hit that, and I'm sure they'll have some sort of shortcut to go along with it.
Okay, so let's stop it there, Chris, because there's a lot to digest already. So, why is this important to you as the business owner? Okay, so as we're looking to give specifications for new computers and things like that, things are going to change a little bit depending on, we got to future-proof desktops and laptops so you can actually take advantage of this stuff, right? The specs are a little bit more, okay, so Chris just went, so this is the specs for the CoPilot Plus, right?
No, for the recall feature. That's a part
the
of
recall
that.
feature. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's saying it needs to be one of these new Copilot Plus PCs with one of these special AI-driven processors. 16 gigs of RAM, 8 logical processors, so 8 logical cores. So not like a quad. I believe when they're saying logical, they're meaning like a full-fledged 8 octa-core processor, whatever you want to call it. Not like a quad core with 4 threads that you see in a lot of 4 or 5 year old PCs are between 4 to 6 cores.
So to stop there, like typically these fit, if you just leave it there for a second, 16 gigs of RAM, that's what we're recommending anyway. And these are minimums, remember. Logical processors, most of the stuff the newer stuff has 8 logical processors, right, Chris?
Well, yeah, it needs to be one of this neural processing unit. That's going to be, it's a newish type of chip. These Copilot Plus PCs, though, Microsoft's competing with Apple. If you're familiar with the M1, the M2 series processors, that's kind of where they're going. These are ARM-based processors from Microsoft, I believe, that are going to be on these Copilot PCs. So this isn't going to be your traditional x86 architecture, which is just your common desktop and laptop processor running a native Windows environment.
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that. So you may have some PCs that are just the normal PCs, 16 gig of RAM, similar specs, right? We generally recommend 512 gigabyte of storage, but you can get away with 256 in a lot of cases. So it's similar specs, but like Chris said, you may have these just for specialized operations. The thing that comes to mind most readily for me with this AI stuff is the most use right now that I hear, the most use cases are things like marketing. If you've got marketing people and they're not leveraging ChatGPT, Copilot, things like that, then you're really missing out because the way I see it, you probably take multiple marketing people and narrow down the scope and probably cut the amount of people in half. I mean, just being honest. I mean, some of the stuff that I've heard of marketing people doing with AI is just such a time saver. But you're still going to need marketing people for strategy and things like that. So I just wanted to add that tidbit to kind of give this some context.
Yeah, so how to use Recall. There is a shortcut. It's the Windows plus J key. And I guess you can search in there. Let me try to zoom in a bit and see the timeline here. And then you can also search within Recall. So, say they have an example, goat cheese pizza. So this is going to be just an efficiency thing too, though. Like not just, you know what I mean? So with the emergence of stuff like this, where it's baked into the operating system, you're going to see people far more efficient at whatever job they're doing that where it requires them to be in a Windows environment.
Right. And of course, there's going to be some people with security concerns with this recall feature. And your IT people may want to lock it down in some cases. And I'm sure Microsoft is going to make it so you can have a certain people that use it and certain people that don't. I don't know. It really depends on your business philosophy. So,
Yeah. Well, and it says right here too, what if I don't want Recall to save information from certain websites or apps? Say you got to be your business that you need to be under HIPAA or some sort of compliance. I guess they're allowing you to exclude certain websites right from the privacy and security settings menu under Recall and snapshots here.
okay.
And then you can also exclude an app from these snapshots. So I'm not, this isn't even out yet. I'm not sure how secure this is, or can IT still track that kind of stuff? There's a lot of unknowns here. Like we just stumbled upon this yesterday. So
Right. Now, these are conversations you're going to have with your IT people and your management, right? We've talked in other videos about policies and sitting down with your team and figuring out like what people should have access to, what people shouldn't have access to. Should you use cloud AI services? How secure are the cloud AI services? Or what we're seeing more and more, like the NVIDIA stuff, you can do this locally so you don't have to worry about it getting stored up in the cloud and potentially getting leaked out, right? So there's a lot of considerations here. And Chris, I think we lost you on the camera technical difficulties. All right, so we're going to wrap it here and we'll keep updating if we hear more about the CoPilot Plus. Thanks for your time, Chris.